Greetings friends and welcome back to That Garden Place. Now on today's episode, it's another long form video. I'm going to show you how to make an Olla, spelled O-L-L-A. It's a Spanish word that basically is just describing a watering pot. And these types of pots have been found in civilizations going back thousands of years. A normal terracotta pot that just becomes a magical watering system, reducing your water usage by up to 70% in any planting bed that you put them in. That's substantial, especially when you consider the cost of water is going up. It's also substantial because it gives the plants exactly what they need. A location to go to get guaranteed moisture. So it's not uncommon to see these Ollas surrounded by plant roots and mycelium and a whole lot of other things that just are naturally drawn to the space. So what do you need to do this? Well, a terracotta pot. You also need a terracotta bottom, which you're going to use as a top or as a lid, and you need either a cork or a plumbing fitting that'll fit in the bottom of the pot. Why? Well, you're going to stop the water there. And cork works pretty well, but you also need food grade silicone, something that you can find in any hardware store to put the two pots together that we're using today. Again, one bottom, two pots, and just a handful of things you can pick up at any hardware store. All of a sudden, you have no more reason to go out and water your garden the old-fashioned way, and you don't have to invest in sprinklers or drip systems or anything else. This will do it all for you. So stick with me today, and here we go. Okay, so now we've moved indoors so we can do this a little more efficiently. It's closer to the tools in here. So look, we have our clay pot. This is terracotta. It's unglazed, as I mentioned before. That's the most important thing. Every single home store carries these. Walmart even carries these, and you can find them at your local nursery. You don't have to pay exorbitant prices. You can even get smaller pots and it'll work the same. But it has to be unglazed. It has to be about 1.5 pints if you're going to use it for any big size. Something this size combined with another pot, which is right here. You're going to sandwich these together using silicone, and this can do a pretty large space. A 3 by 3 by 3 space this will take care of, and you only have to add water to it maybe once a week, maybe less. A lot of it's going to depend on your climate. A lot of it's going to depend on your soil. So we'll get started on assembly right now. First of all, we have a little bit of a chip in this pot. I'm not going to worry about that and fill it up with silicone as we go, but I need to solve this problem. Now, normally I would say grab a cork, which a lot of people have around that's handy. And you can certainly use this, especially if you silicone it in, but if you, as you can see here, this is too small. This cork is not big enough. If you had a champagne cork, maybe it would work. Otherwise, get yourself one of these plastic pieces. This is a bushing you can get at any home store, and it actually is threaded on the outside. And you can actually just screw it into the bottom and then seal it up with silicone. Now, you might have some difficulty getting it started, but once you get it started, you should be able to just hand twist it into place well enough that you will lock out all of the things you don't want in this pot, which is going to be dirt. Plus, you don't want it to leak. Another reason to silicone it in place. I've always used bushings. Usually the smooth ones you don't have to screw in, but if you use this to screw it in, you can also create kind of a real watertight seal that'll last you a long, long time. So as I get this screwed in here, as you can see, it's a little caterwonky, which means it's not flat, but that's okay. Again, we're just going to seal this in place at the top and the bottom, and we've got our bottom taken care of. And then we're going to put a bead of silicone around the top of the pot, and we're going to kind of fill this gap here a little bit with silicone, and we'll definitely film that. And then we are going to take this other pot and put it right there on top, sealed to the other pot. And then, in order to keep the water from escaping or evaporating, we're just going to cap it like that. Or you can use a tile, you can use a lot of different things, or just turn this upside down. But the goal is to get this thing sealed off. For the most part, you're going to lose a little bit of water due to the respiration of the pot, which is why it makes for a great water system in your garden beds. Fantastic, in fact. So let's put it together. We'll glue it together. Here we go. So first things first, we have to get our 100% silicone sealant out there. Don't want anything with anything that's not silicone. It's going to have a lot of flexibility. It's going to take about 30 minutes to set up completely, and then you'll have a waterproof container. But let's open it up. Most of your silicone guns come with a handy dandy little poker. We're going to poke it down into the hole here. Maybe a couple, 3, 4 times. And then we'll put it back into the silicone gun, snap it in place, put that thing out of the way, ratchet it into place, and we're good to go. Now I've already shaped the end of this particular silicone gun, so I'm going to get a pretty decent band of silicone on here. So here we go. Now don't be afraid to use your fingers, that's not a big deal. So you can get this on here really well, make a nice clean seal, and you don't have to worry about it leaking. And again, don't be afraid to use your fingers, otherwise known as fingers. Yeah, I know some of you don't speak CC, but don't forget, before you finish that, be sure to silicone in your plug at the bottom so you don't get any leaking. You want this thing to stay perfectly sealed up when it's full of water. And you don't want all your water to run away. And again, this is going to be buried. Nobody's going to see how sloppy a job you do. You can make it as pretty as you want or as ugly as you want. It's really not going to matter all that much. And if you forget to seal the plug in at the bottom, you can do it on the bottom when you're done. It doesn't really matter. But once you close this up, the lid is on and you are done. Again, it takes about 30 minutes for this silicone to finally set. We got plenty of time, despite we have slightly warmer weather today. We're coming into the full heat of spring. No chance for a lot of water or anything else in the climate I'm in. You know what? In the comments below, tell me the climate you're in. I'm pretty interested in what zone you're in. Some of you might not know what that is. You can look that up actually on the internet. Type in your zip code and ask what your zone is. You might be surprised at what you can grow in the various other zones. I'm going to strip this sticker off here. I'll get the other one in a minute. We'll just set that on. Just like that. Try and line it up the first time. I'm going to flip this over actually to line this up so it's on a flatter surface. And then I'm just going to run this bead of silicone with my finger all the way around here, making sure all the gaps are filled, because remember, we have a chip in this pot. And if you have damaged pots, you can certainly use them, which is, don't throw them away. Terracotta is one of those materials we're going to work with many times on this channel. I'm going to show you why. So as I continue to work this around, I don't think there's enough silicone in some spots. So again, I'm not going to be afraid to add. Adding silicone isn't a big deal. And I'm going to get rid of some of it off of my hands. We'll do a real quick shoot into our gaping hole in the side of this pot. We shouldn't have any water sneak out of there. In fact, I'm not going to make it all that pretty. I'm just going to fill it up with a nice big patch. And again, if you find you have leaks, you can always come back with more silicone and seal it up. If you make a mess with your caulking, you can actually take a damp paper towel and just kind of wipe it flat, but make sure you don't strip away the goodness where you need it. Like I said, I need it in that patch down there, but we can do this. And in about a half an hour, as I said before, all of this should be ready to go. And again, we're using terracotta because it's porous and it will slowly reach a point of homeostasis with the soil that surrounds it. And you will have a soil saturation level that is safe for the plants, desirable for the plants, as a matter of fact. and an amazing moisture keeper. So let's flip this over the right way so you can see how it goes into the ground. Just like that. Gonna rest there, a little unsteady on that plumbing fixture. And then we will cover it over once we've filled it with water with our tray, because this is the drip tray for the terracotta pot. All in all, that's it to the assembly. Now let's install one in the potato beds. So the next step is to excavate a hole in your soil to have enough space to put your Olla in, which I've already done. It'll go right down into that. We can secure it with the soil that we just excavated, and voila. Our Olla, or Olla, depending upon how you pronounce it, it's actually Olla, is done. It's in place. It's ready to put water in, and we will do that later today after we build up this bed a little bit more. But this is essentially ready to work. Once we've added water, which I'll show you in just a little bit, we will put the top on it so that it doesn't leak out. It's very exciting, and it naturally cools the soil as well. Oh boy, look at those potatoes coming in. Good stuff. And again, a little bit closer look here at our Olla sitting in the bed. Neat. And now we fill up our Olla with water. This is a good time to find out if you made any leaks. And when you're all done, you cover your Olla with the lid, and you're done. And now you have an automatic watering system that the ancients would be proud of. And now we just need to plant more potatoes in this bed to get them started. In just a few hours, that terracotta, being as porous as it is, will be watering all throughout that bed for a week, or maybe longer. And that, friends, is the ancient watering technology that we should have been using the whole time. An unglazed terracotta pot, or two, the drain tray for a terracotta pot, and a cork, or an appropriate bushing, and a little bit of silicone. Nothing anybody wouldn't want in their backyard, and it's not going to hurt your food supply. But what it is going to do is going to provide a permanent moisture environment for all of your plants, and that they will absolutely love. If you have any other ideas or tips that you would like me to explore, let me know that in the comment section below. Of course, I'll be doing these videos at least once a week, and you'll get the occasional short as well. Remember that gardening is not just a fun hobby, it's one that can feed you and your family in a very small space. And just in case you haven't seen it yet, check out the tiered planter box that I built on the previous video. As always, friends, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, we'll see ya on That Garden Place.